Ice Spice just gave the internet something new to zoom in on. And it's not a song, it's not a feud, it's a diamond sitting dead center on her tongue that's bigger than anything her jewelry rotation has produced before. Let's get into what actually happened, because the timeline moves fast here. On July 7th, Ice Spice posted an Instagram story of herself in what looks like a bathroom, orange hair perfectly straight, sticking her tongue out just long enough for fans to catch a flash of ice sitting right in the middle of it. No caption, no explanation. Just the photo and the flex. That alone was enough to get clips circulating within minutes, with accounts like Academics reposting it and racking up millions of views overnight. Then the story got bigger. The next day, her longtime jeweler, Benny the jeweler, posted his own video on Instagram, and this is where the real numbers came out. According to Benny, the piece is worth $50,000, made with a flawless diamond set in 18-karat gold.
How would you describe this era?
This era is full of peace and love and cutesy
and he's calling it the biggest tongue ring in the world. Not one of the biggest. Not one of a kind. The biggest. Now here's where it gets interesting, because Ice Spice already showed off a tongue piercing back in April. Smaller stone, less of a moment, barely a blip. So this isn't her introducing a new piercing to the world. This is her upgrading one she already had, and going so big with it that the size itself became the headline. That's a very different flex than just, look, I got my tongue pierced. That's look what I did to the piercing you already knew about. The reactions came in fast, and they were not all admiration. Some people questioned whether the diamond was even real, pointing out how oversized it looked compared to anything realistically wearable. Others weren't convinced it was technically a tongue ring at all, with comments arguing the setup looked more like a stud or an earring for your tongue, as one commenter put it. That distinction might sound small, but it turned into its own mini debate in the replies, people breaking down piercing mechanics like they're jewelry engineers. Then there's the group who skipped the debate about authenticity entirely and went straight for the practical concerns. One Instagram user who says she has her own tongue piercing predicted the jewelry got removed right after the photo was taken because there's no way something that size sits comfortably for long. Another comment, and this one got a lot of traction, joked that the piece was already doing damage to the roof of her mouth. Somebody else pointed out that her tongue jewelry now matches an earring she's been wearing, which added a whole new layer to the conversation. People going back through her recent posts trying to match up her accessories like they're building a case file. That's the pattern with Ice Spice's flexes lately. It's never just nice jewelry. It always splits into camps, the people hyping the boldness of it, and the people picking apart every detail for a flaw, a inconsistency, a reason to say it's fake or impractical. Scroll deeper into the replies, and a third camp shows up too. The ones treating this less like a jewelry story and more like a punchline. That layer of joking commentary got pulled and repackaged across meme accounts almost as fast as the jewelry commentary did, which tells you this story split into two separate conversations running at the same time, one about carats and craftsmanship, one that had nothing to do with the diamond at all. That split is part of why this stayed visible across so many different corners of the internet, instead of staying contained to fashion pages. There's also a practical debate buried in the comments worth pulling out on its own, because it's more specific than just, is it real? A few commenters with piercing experience started breaking down the mechanics, arguing that a stone that size mounted that close to the tip of the tongue puts pressure in a spot standard tongue piercings usually avoid for exactly this reason. That's a different kind of skepticism than the diamond looks fake. That's, even if it's real, here's why it's not built to last. And it's the kind of angle that keeps a story circulating in piercing and body mod corners of the internet that wouldn't normally engage with a celebrity jewelry post at all. Now the contradiction worth pointing out. Her jeweler is out here calling this the biggest tongue ring on the planet. And he's the same guy who's built a track record of headline-worthy custom pieces for her, including a diamond-covered watch reportedly worth $250,000. So when Benny makes a superlative claim like this, it's coming from someone with an established pattern of going big on purpose every single time. specifically to generate this exact reaction. The marketing angle here is not subtle. A jeweler claiming a world's biggest title for a piece he made for one of the most talked about names in music right now is a business move as much as it is a jewelry reveal. And plenty of people online picked up on that immediately, treating the claim with a raised eyebrow rather than taking it at face value. Zoom out for a second, and this fits a broader trend that's been building across music right now, where custom, oversized jewelry pieces function almost like content drops on their own, separate from any song or project. Artists aren't waiting for an album cycle to generate attention anymore. A single unexplained accessory reveal can carry an entire week of coverage on its own. And jewelers Settles had figured out that tagging a well-known client in a superlative claim, biggest, rarest, first of its kind, guarantees engagement whether people believe the claim or not. Ice Spice's piercing lands right in the middle of that pattern, which is part of why it spread so fast. It didn't need a song attached to it to become a story. And there's a bigger context sitting right behind this story that a lot of outlets couldn't resist bringing up. Just days before the piercing reveal, Ice Spice was dealing with a completely different kind of attention after photos from Michael Rubin's White Party in the Hamptons showed her standing close with actor Tobey Maguire, close enough that people online were convinced they'd caught something romantic. The chatter got loud enough that a radio co-host stepped in publicly to clarify what actually happened, saying she'd gotten word directly from a rep for Ice Spice that nothing romantic occurred between them. According to that clarification, the two were sharing a vape and simply greeting each other when the photo was taken, and the closeness people saw was just the angle catching them mid-hello. That denial didn't fully kill the story, because these things rarely die that clean. It just moved the conversation, and now, less than a week later, Ice Spice hands everyone a brand new visual to focus on instead. Whether that timing is coincidence or not, it's hard to ignore how quickly the narrative flipped from "who was she kissing" to "look at her tongue jewelry." And for her, that's probably the outcome she wanted. A jaw-dropping piece of jewelry is a much easier headline to sit with than unconfirmed dating rumors involving a Hollywood actor. The media response here has followed a pretty predictable split. Entertainment outlets are treating this purely as a fashion and jewelry story, breaking down the carat details, the gold specs, the price tag, and framing it as another example of Ice Spice's ongoing relationship with statement accessories, tying it back to other recent flexes like the rare pink and white Birkin bag she showed off earlier this year. Meanwhile, the tabloid-style coverage has leaned harder into the reaction angle, pulling screenshots straight from the comment sections and building entire posts around what fans are saying rather than the jewelry itself. Both approaches are getting traffic, which tells you this story has legs on more than one type of platform, from the fashion crowd to the pure gossip crowd. There's also a quieter thread running through some of the coverage, bringing up how she's handled body-related speculation before. Earlier this year, she publicly shut down claims that she'd used Ozempic to explain her weight loss, responding directly online that it was actually connected to a period of depression she'd since moved past. That's a completely separate topic from a tongue piercing, but some coverage is choosing to mention it anyway, framing this jewelry moment as part of a bigger pattern of Ice Spice's body and appearance being constantly picked apart online, whether it's what she's wearing, what she's had done, or what people assume she's had done. It's worth noting because it shows how quickly any physical detail about her turns into commentary that goes beyond the actual item in question. So, what happens from here? Realistically, this kind of story has a short shelf life on its own. Jewelry reveals usually get their moment and then fade within a week, unless something forces them to stick around. But there are a few things that could keep this one alive longer than usual. If the piercing shows up again in a music video, a red carpet appearance, or a performance that resets the conversation and gives outlets a reason to run the story again with fresh photos. If Benny or Ice Spice's team responds to the "is it even real" skepticism directly, that turns a comment section debate into an actual follow-up story with quotes attached. And if the timing next to the Tobey Maguire denial gets picked up by anyone looking to connect dots that may or may not be there, this could get framed as more than just a jewelry flex, whether that framing is fair to her or not. There's also the simple, physical reality that multiple commenters already flagged that a piece this large sitting on a tongue piercing is not exactly built for daily wear. If she's seen without it in the next few days, or if a version of it shows up smaller, altered, or gone completely, that itself becomes a small story. The kind of remember when she said it was the biggest in the world callback that entertainment accounts love to resurface. What's actually going on underneath all of this is pretty simple once you strip away the noise. Ice Spice has built a pattern where jewelry does a lot of the talking for her more effectively than any interview or statement could. A watch worth $250,000, a rare Birkin, and now a diamond claimed to be the biggest of its kind, all dropped with zero explanation, and all designed to be photographed, screenshotted, and argued about. That's not an accident. That's a strategy that's clearly working, because here we are, several news cycles deep into a single Instagram story with no caption. The real story isn't the size of the diamond. It's how effortlessly a single unexplained photo, no statement, no interview, no context, managed to bury a much messier rumor within 72 hours. That's not luck. That's exactly how you want the internet to work for you.